Well, hello, welcome to another episode of Boldly Going. This is Merlin, sometimes known as Joe. I've got my film fanatics friends with me. We've got Dan over there.
Hey.
Justin over here.
Call me Scotty.
I'm going to lose it, Justin.
Cyan's accent,
Yeah, really.
But anyway, we're going back to Voyager. This time, it's kind of a investigative thing. I'm going to actually give this one to Dan for the synopsis because I know he loves Voyager so much.
Yeah, well. All right.
Ex Facto.
So, yeah, the episode is called Ex Post Facto. And what's the main character's name? I'm still getting used to all the Voyager characters.
You mean the one that gets, framed?
Yeah.
Tom Paris.
Paris, okay.
Lieutenant Paris.
So Lieutenant Paris basically goes on a trip, and he ends up getting framed for this murder, and he essentially has to live this Groundhog Day sort of thing over and over again. I believe it's 14 hours. Mm-hmm. He has to relive the last 20 minutes or whatever of this guy's life through his eyes.
Who he supposedly murdered.
Who he supposedly murdered. That's his punishment for, allegedly committing the murder. So this episode is really bad. I mean, I just didn't like it. First of all, I don't like this character at all.
I don't like him either.
We haven't seen him too much, which is why I didn't even know his name.
Well,
this is his first centric episode.
He was kind of a big part of the initial pilot, though.
I was going to say.
Yeah, but everybody kind of was. I mean, we were getting to know everybody.
That's fair.
You know, so, I mean, this is clearly, his episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm all for, in the first season, sort of focusing on individuals to highlight them and give them, a lot of focus. Mm-hmm. But I have learned from this episode, I don't care for this guy. I think the actor is terrible, for one thing.
Oh,
he just, it's this kind of overacting. I sort of thought of it like
a little TOS.
It's sort of Captain Kirky, but without the
charm,
kitsch. Yeah, I just, 40 years after the fact, I'm not looking at a Star Trek for camp. I'm after Deep Space Nine, and obviously the Next Gen episodes we've seen so far don't really highlight this, but some that I've seen previously,
not too campy.
They're not that campy. They're tackling more serious stuff in a serious way. I think TOS attempted to capture some serious stuff and sort of,
more over
as
the top.
We've talked about, missed the mark a little bit.
Yeah.
But here, we've got this guy who I don't really like, dealing with something that is just very over the top and corny. Tuvok, who I still can't get on board with, sort of is the one who realizes how to stop this all and, moves forward that way. So, I don't know. For me, this was just one big miss. Janeway is barely in it, and I'm still on the fence whether I like her. I think sometimes she does a good job being captain. Sometimes she just is so, it seems out of her element.
Well, not to interrupt, but it seems like the writers are kind of at war with what exact attitude they want to take her character, because take, for example, the Neelix episode where they have to go get coffee. Mm-hmm. They're trying to... Clearly the writer is trying to give us the impression that Janeway is perceived as very uptight captain.
Yeah, very stoic.
And I've never really got that impression.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in that episode, Neelix had to tell her how to be a captain. Which is all right, is she dumb or is she stoic? So I still can't get a good read on her. I don't know. I know, Joe, you've said many times this is just not, in general, a great series in the Trek community.
Can't deny it.
But this is one of the worst for me so far.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to leave it with a C-.
Jeez.
Justin?
This was a very... Is it safe to say experimental episode?
Yeah, in terms of the style of storytelling, definitely.
I was going to say, it's definitely flirting with noir, and I think it held my intrigue with that. Didn't necessarily work. I don't know. I'll be honest. I have no problem saying Paris was the worst part of the pilot. His character was cliche. Acting, not great, but
He's bad.
I mean, he's bordering on TOS, where it's like, where does camp become just bad? I don't know. He's walking that tightrope, and I think at times he falls a little too far into that. Certainly when they try to have him do method acting with his reactions. The general concept of this episode, I think, is fantastic.
That's the only reason I gave it more than like a D or a D+, because I do like the concept.
Like the punishment is really, really creepy, and I think the overall execution in terms of how it goes along is interesting. It's just, I wish Paris hadn't been the focus of this episode. If it was Harry Kim, I think it would have actually been a little bit better.
It's kind of sad that Harry didn't really get much to do other than narrate what
Yeah,
happened.
I was going to say.
I know.
There's kind of a running joke about Harry. His whole purpose is to kind of, get...
Exposition.
No, not exposition. Just bad things happen to him, and you can't really take him too seriously because just poor Harry Kim, Ensign Carey. But no, it's funny you bring that up. I think that there's definitely some interesting sci-fi stuff, and narratively speaking, with the punishment, which is one thing I did like.
I'd like to hear Justin's grade, though.
Did you? You not want to give one?
I mean, for the unique execution and some aspects of acting, I'd give it a C+.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's funny you guys mentioned that because, not to toot Deep Space Nine, but there's a very similar scenario that occurs later in Deep Space Nine that I think is executed much more effectively, and the focus is on O'Brien. So I don't think I need to go into any more detail about why that works better.
Well,
He's
a great person.
Said.
He really is.
Yeah.
But no, there's a really good episode down the line. But this one, I think, like I said, I think that in terms of the idea for the story, it's pretty unique and can be engaging. The problem is I think they spend too much time focusing on Paris, who I really just hate as a character. I just don't like him. And the acting wasn't really that good anyway, but I just don't like the character at all. Definitely, Janeway was a lot less effective, I think, here. However, there is some interesting elements in how they get involved in the political context between these two different factions, which I kind of liked. Also, they did follow up on some of the development of the Doctor's arc, him becoming, more attributed to sentience.
I was actually hoping that they would go further with that in this episode, and it just becomes like a opening capper.
Yeah, but there was some good stuff there that was explored. So this one's not good, and I found it just generally... There was too much time building up to it. It didn't really hold my engagement that much. But that was only about half the time. It's just kind of mediocre for me. I leave it with a C.
Okay, right in the middle. I hate this guy.
Yeah, Tom?
Yeah.
He's just a weak character. I mean, I think that's the
He's a
biggest
weak
pitfall.
character and a bad actor.
Well, that too.
Well,
I think it's a combination of both. I don't think he's well written and poorly acted, or badly acted but decently written. He's bad in both areas.
Well, I think the character is designed to be a certain way, so I can't really fault them for the writing for him because I think it's accurate. It's just not a character that's designed to be likable, which is weird. But I can
But at least he could be interesting.
Agreed.
The thing is, I would say he's the worst, but I don't like Chakotay, who's pretty much the blandest of bland. He's like blander than Tuvok, and Tuvok's Vulcan.
God. Tuvok.
Tuvok is pretty important to this one.
I know he is.
say.
He did some cool stuff. He did some mind melding.
Do you know why I hate him?
Hey, you gotta get past it, man. It was big in the 90s, dude.
I know it was,
Vulcan rap,
but
man.
guess what? They don't live in the 90s. It's like, oh yeah, Captain Homer Simpson. Like, yeah, that was big in the 90s, but Star Trek takes place,
Well, I guess in this case it would have been
years and
like,
years,
what?
hundreds of years later.
No. It would have been Bomer Glimpson.
You're right.
Who's he an homage to? For sure. No, but Neelix as well. Essential to the parameters here. Was
I like
helpful.
Neelix.
He was good.
Yeah.
Served his function well, I think.
Oh yeah.
Bit
Well,
part,
he
but-
typically does.
So I guess wrap up. How was the lineup of Trek for you guys overall?
Well, I mean, you guys
I like to do a cap.
really hated the Mud and the Wesley on the Lawn episodes, which I did not hate as much. I thought there were good qualities of both. What happened in DS9? I can't remember.
That was Dax.
Dax backstory.
Yeah.
True.
That was fine.
I think this is another time where DS9 wins again. I mean,
I don't know. You like Mud, or maybe
No, for me, I think I'd give it to Next Gen because I really did like the whole Picard angle of like trying to worry about the Prime Directive while keeping people alive.
That's fair.
I thought that was a really good angle. I agree that murdering people for being on the lawn is silly. But
I guess that's the
I
point.
thought his conundrum was probably the best of the week's episodes, or the month's episodes, I should say.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I don't know what the next TOS one is, but I'm sure it'll be interesting.
Well,
Usually is.
for you, I'm sure better than Mud.
There are episodes I hate more than Mud, for sure. I just have never really liked that character. Of
What
all,
a great guy.
well, he's not as evil as Khan, I guess.
True.
You know,
Well, he's not.
But Khan only got one callback.
but it was the biggest of all callbacks.
It's
It
true.
was.
That's true.
So, what if they had done Star Trek II: The Wrath of Mud?
I
Well,
don't think the world will be ready for it,
I'd be
Joe.
on board.
Literally.
True. It's true. All right.
All right, everybody. Well, please let us know what you thought about this episode and any of the other ones, and tell us what you're expecting in the future. Say goodbye, guys.
See ya.
Till the next time.